The honeymoon was short for this Pope, who heads a church with a deeply troubled past. His own is already in question. The Vatican is refuting claims that when he was a Jesuit priest, Francis failed to protect two fellow priests kidnapped by the Argentine government in 1976. Shasta Darlington has that story.
A dark and in many ways unresolved period in Argentina's history. 30,000 people were disappeared during the military dictatorship that lasted 7 years, ending in 1983. Thousands more kidnapped and tortured. The role of Argentina's Catholic Church is murky, with some in the hierarchy supporting the junta. That shadow now hangs over Pope Francis. At that time, Jorge Bergoglio was the young head of Argentina's Jesuit order. Gaston Chillier tracks human rights cases in the country.
The designation of Cardinal Bergoglio generates doubts, basically because of situations related to the military dictatorship that were never clarified. Serious human rights violations, particularly the disappearance of two Jesuit priests.
He's talking about the kidnapping of two Jesuit priests in 1976. One of them later accused Bergoglio of not doing enough to protect them. In his official biography, Bergoglio says he pleaded with the priests to leave their slum work to avoid trouble. He says he later worked behind the scenes to secure their release. One of the priests says he reconciled with Bergoglio years later. Few people blame Bergoglio for seemingly not standing up to the junta, but critics say he should have attempted to make amends for the church's role once it was over.
It makes you think the complete complicity of the church's hierarchy continues even today, because from the Pope down, they've never mentioned it. Not this Pope or the last Pope or the one before that. They've never apologized.
The Vatican spokesman said none of the accusations had been proven and shouldn't be dredged up now.
We affirm that these accusations are not reasonable and are not based on facts and should not cast any shadow on the figure of the new Pope.
The so-called dirty war is still very present today, with many junta-era leaders on trial. Some have already been sentenced. But many Argentines think that this should be a moment to pause and celebrate the election of the first Latin American Pope ever. A man who, beyond dispute, has been a champion of the poor and will bring a commons man touch to the papacy. Shasta Darlington, CNN, Buenos Aires.